Championship is tight, a lot on the line, and for those who haven't scored a win here at this classic circuit, they want to get one today. Joseph Newgarden leads the field to green. Let's go racing in Wisconsin at Road America. Great start, Ryan Hunter-Reay and Alexander Rossi.
Power got completely snookered by Newgarden on that start. He's lost 6-7 positions, more positions, 9-10. Horrible start for Power. I don't know if he's got a problem.
There's something wrong with his car, surely.
Has to be.
Look, he's ailing. What is up with Will Power's car from the front row to almost last in 2 corners?
Real quickly, and he said engine, so I'm going to check with Roger Penske right now to find out what exactly happened with Will Power, but they are all kind of talking to each other here on the timing stand. Does seem like he's back out to Power now, and now Will is saying, what do you want me to do? So further investigation here for the 12 team, but obviously an engine issue going on.
Wow.
Look at Wickens trying to challenge Rossi. Rossi having none of that, and that's what I was talking about. Elbows out today.
Elbows out like St. Pete. He just muscled Wickens right off the track. He lost a couple positions. Wickens will be like, hey, we've done this before. I'm not going for that again.
Forcefully on the inside there, you notice the fuzzy Chevrolet of Jordan King. That was a nice move. A lot of positional changes on this opening lap. Tony Kanaan with a good start. TK's made up 5 positions.
I was watching Simon Pagenaud back there in the bright yellow Menards car with Marco Andretti. As we see more action, that's Ed Jones with Zach Clayman DeMello. And up front, Ryan Hunter-Reay all over Newgarden.
Now we're going to see the test. He's within range now for push to pass. We'll see on the front straightaway who's got the superior power. Hunter-Reay is right there. If he can stay close and get pushed to pass up the hill with the draft, we might see a pass for the lead.
Fabulous start too from Takuma Sato, who runs 4th. So end of the opening lap, it's Joseph Newgarden, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Andretti teammate in Alexander Rossi, and then Sato, Sebastian Bourdais in the top 5. Here's a replay of the start. Look to the right, car 12. The Verizon Chevy, Will Power just watching the whole field sweep on by.
I know that feeling. In 2001, I had a similar thing happen. I started 6th, went all the way to the back. Rossi right here, under review now is what we're hearing from pushing him wide. I didn't see any contact, but he definitely was aggressive with Wickens.
I don't see any problem with that. Frankly, that corner, that's a single file line, and there's really no place to go at the exit. Marco Andretti and Graham Rahal. I'll tell you what, this is shaping up like a motocross race right now.
Oh, look at this back here with the...
This is Jordan King again. Jordan has made up 12 positions from his starting spot. He is flying in that Ed Carpenter Racing Chevy. And he's got his teammate Spencer Pigot right with him.
Will Power in the pits. He's got engine cover coming off. Obviously now we think he's got an ignition box type problem, and they'll probably switch.
And guys, it's a boost issue. He did shut the engine off just now. It did not sound a full song when it came to pit road. They did have him cycle the power in the car, so they did try that. That did not solve the problem. And this is the team who clearly had a great month of May. Won the Indy GP, then won the Indy 500, but then had a disastrous Texas 2 weeks ago. Finished 18th in that race. They fell to 3rd in the championship standings. 36 points out of the lead coming into this race, but an early exit, it looks like, for Will Power. He is sitting in the car now as they try to diagnose exactly what it is, Lee.
Oh, just gut-wrenching. Dominated the month of May, and since then it has been frustrating. Hey, Marty, tell us more about Sebastian Bourdais.
Yeah, riding along with the Sealmaster Honda, and unfortunately it was a gear control unit. They came down pit road and they cycled the power. That seemed to solve the issue, but he plummeted through the field, Lee. He was running up in the top 5, as we mentioned earlier, but now having to come from way behind. But if this cycles out, might work out okay. Who knows? There are other drivers and other teams trying a force-drop strategy today, as long as it holds together electrically.
This time a week ago, Sebastian got to stand on the class podium at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, where he was born. He's had some wonderful history there, and of course driving for the Chip Ganassi Ford GT team. Meanwhile, we get back to the front, and Joseph Newgarden has led all 11 laps thus far and looks comfortable out in front.
He does. It'll be very interesting to see what happens on the green flag stops, and Joseph Newgarden not looking too comfortable. That was a big old slide exiting turn 1 at about 120 miles an hour. We expect Newgarden and the leaders to pit in the next 2 laps or so. Right on board with Veach now. He's got Jordan King all over him.
Yeah, he's under attack. He dives down the inside. He just got passed by Hinchcliffe just earlier in this lap, so he's definitely struggling for rear grip, Kelly.
Yeah, he has been struggling. He said the car's just been laying over on itself, and Zach Veach just a moment ago said it almost feels like something's bent, but I haven't hit anything. So we'll see what adjustments they can make when they come to pit road.
And unfortunately,
put the other set of tires on it.
Unfortunately for Veach, he's burned now 130 seconds of his 200 seconds available, so he's going to be well out of push to pass. We're only 12 laps into this thing.
And he's been loose all weekend. He's been like sliding the rear end all over the place. And I think it's just a matter of fact, you heard on the radio, we're going to put new tires on it soon. So I think he's just burned the tires off. And now it's just can't get off the corners. And he can't use the push to pass. So he's kind of a sitting duck.
Zach has really fond memories of racing here at Road America in Indy Lights. The last time he raced here, won the race and set a track record. Not quite going as well to plan here in the Verizon IndyCar Series. Race leader Joseph Newgarden chooses this lap to pit. Last year, Newgarden and Scott Dixon were involved in an enthralling battle, and Newgarden very early set the tone by staying out one lap longer than his teammate then, Helio Castro Neves, and had put himself in contention for the win, but it was Dixon with a powerful move who ended up getting the victory here last year.
And Scott Dixon is also going to stay out one more lap this time. Most of the other leaders coming in. Ryan Hunter-Reay from second. He has to go around the tires of his teammate Marco Andretti. Alexander Rossi had a clean in. It is to the primaries this time for Hunter-Reay, and one turn out of one way. Hardy.
It's going to be an interesting study here, Kevin, to see if that one extra lap pays off. Joseph Newgarden leaving pit road. As you can see, Robert Wickens also on pit road. Newgarden wanted no changes to that one car. They put on primary sticker tires for Robert Wickens. They did take a big change in front wing. He said, I'm too free on entry and too tight on exit. So they made changes to that 6 car as well. And we'll see where all these guys cycle out once Dixon comes to pit road.
Oh, look at this. Marco Andretti rejoining right in front of Graham Rahal in turn 1. The over and under. Rahal's able to get by Andretti. Sweeping down to turn 2.
He's made up a lot of ground by staying out an extra lap because he's jumped ahead of Piggott and almost got Graham Rahal, but Graham Rahal's on hot tires now. Easy work for him, but the guy he's got to watch out behind to turn 5, 6, 7 is Piggott right here.
The guy we've got to look out for is Scott Dixon, who stayed out one extra lap.
And I think Graham Rahal is probably doing his best to get some distance on Marco Andretti, who I'm sure hasn't forgotten some of the moves Graham was making on the opening lap. And Dixon, once again, as you said, Lee, with incredible mileage, going a full lap longer. Nobody saves fuel better than this guy.
It was one of the lines in Robin Miller's essay. Exactly what you just said. Nobody saves fuel like him. And he told me many years ago he learned that when testing for Toyota. When Toyota came into kart, he spent so much time testing. That's where he was able to really refine it.
And look at how hard Dixon was pushing through those final few corners. He knows that this in-lap means everything in terms of his ability to leapfrog and make positions on guys like Newgarden, Hunter-Reay, and Rossi.
It's exactly how he won the race last year, Kev.
He didn't get the starting position, 8th that he wanted, but he felt pretty good about the race car, and he goes a lap longer than everyone else. How much will this play into Scott Dixon's plan? This time, it's the primary stint. Might be the only one. You see the wing adjustment. They go from the reds to the blacks, and Dixon is back out with Sunoco fuel as well.
Leaders go by on the main straight, but we'll see where he cycles out. He's going to come out just in front of Wickens here. It's going to be a drag race. Wickens gets by, but he's jumped ahead of Kanaan.
Hard work for Dixon in these first 2 corners. He's on the harder black compound tire. Needs to get some temperature in those. Won't take him very long. You can see him struggling there.
But you did see him tippy-toe through turn 1.
You have to.
Yeah.
It looks like Will Power's going to retire. He came back on track, 14 laps down, did a lap, went back in. Veach comes out into traffic. This could be trouble here. This could set up a pass.
Stays way out of the way of his Andretti Autosport teammates Ryan Hunter-Reay and Alexander Rossi. Sato goes by. Wickens is the next one.
I promise you, Joseph Newgarden's coming down the front straightaway at 185 going, oh, don't do that, please.
One of those last shots, Paul, down into turn 2, there's something that just does not look right about Zach Veach's car.
Yeah, as we see Wickens just in front of him, who's kind of clawing his way back onto the back end of these top 4 guys, but Obviously, there's something wrong in the steering rack, steering arms. It's just playing it. Steering wheel's loose, you know, moving back and forth on it.
Wickens is all over the back of Takuma Sato heading down towards Canada Corner. Riding with Scott Dixon. That fight is up ahead.
Be interesting to see that 1 lap advantage, if that turns into a 2-lap advantage on the second stop for Dixon, which would be huge if he can rip off some quick laps and have a good in-lap.
A little further down the order, this is James Hinchcliffe, Robert Wickens' teammate, working on Zach Clayman DeMello.
2 Canadians here, 1 from Montreal, 1 from Toronto. 3 Canadians in the field. Wickens up front from these guys.
And look, guys, you want to go back a couple of weeks when we were at Texas Motor Speedway, and I don't want to say we gave Zach Clayman DeMello a hard time with that incident with Will Power, and kind of maybe it looked like it might have been a bit ambitious, but in the end, and I have to say when we spoke to Zach post his race, when his race was over, he was very forthright and just saying it from his perspective. And when we got the opportunity to hear from Will Power, he said, absolutely my fault. I didn't hear my spotter. We had some communication issues, and I went up the track. I had no idea he was there, and I put him in the wall. So, credit to Zach, because he was having a very good run there, like Hinchcliffe is here.
Yeah, he got a nice run off the corner. A little bit loose. Zach will protect the inside. He's going to make Hinch go around the long way. Hinch late on the brakes. Zach still there.
Whoa.
Chopped the nose right off of him, Townsend, and turned in. Good pass.
Yeah, it's all you have to do is leave just enough room, not an inch more. Hinchcliffe with a nice move. And now Hinchcliffe has some clear track in front of him. Jordan King, the next car up ahead, about 5 seconds ahead of Hinchcliffe.
We see the couple of the leaders up front, Kevin.
So Alexander Rossi comes in a lap earlier than Ryan Hunter-Reay. You're right on it, PT, that Hunter-Reay is getting the mileage that might impact this one. Front wing adjustment. This is scuffed reds, Marty, for Rossi.
A lot of the other teams going to scuffed reds or the alternate tire. Robert Wickens going with a primary tire. Sticker primary tires for him. He said the rears went off too quickly with the alternate tire. I want to stick with the primaries. They do that. We'll see where they cycle out. And these other leaders, including Joseph Newgarden, staying out 1 extra lap.
This should be fun to watch. Takuma Sato at speed. This is a battle for position.
Gotcha. In there deep on hot tires. Hard to hold a guy off that's already got a lap, but Sato might get Rossi here. He's in the tow. He'll break as late as possible. If he doesn't get him by 5, he's really going to have a difficult time.
Sato on the outside, which is the wrong side at 5, but he's going to have a go at it anyway. Around the outside of Alexander Rossi. Does it come off? Yes, it does.
Rossi fights back up the hill. He's going to stuff it in here.
Side by side, Sato
contact.
and Rossi.
Remember what Rossi did to Wickens? Wickens pushed off.
What a pass. But that might come under the scrutiny. He's already been looked at for the same move.
Yeah, but they looked at that move and deemed it to be racing appropriate earlier, so I don't see anything different about what Rossi just did there.
I think that was great racing. It was wheel to wheel, tire to tire banging. I'm cool with that. Here's the leaders, same on the same lap.
Kev standing by. Take it away.
Well, Townsend, you were right on it about Ryan Hunter-Reay. That was one of the things he told me before. I think we're better than others on the older blacks, and he made that work for them. He's going to come in, and he's going to take another set of the primaries. Meanwhile, Scott Dixon goes by him. You just see him through the screen there. He's going on scuff raids. Marty?
Joseph Newgarden at the front of the field was really pushed by Ryan Hunter-Reay on that lap coming to pit road. They're going the opposite direction. They're going to go with the alternate scuffed tires. We're going to look for Rossi and those other guys coming through, see where everybody cycles out. But Newgarden able to push it 1 lap further here on this stint.
Zach Beach coming up at speed, but look at Dixon. We totally forgot about Dixon. Leapfrogged all those guys into 3rd and has a nice gap to Rossi.
But Rossi is flying on warm tires, just like we saw earlier a lap ago. Rossi should be able to close the gap very quickly to Dixon, and Dixon's going to be working hard to get temperature as fast as he can. It's going to take Rossi probably 2 more corners to catch him, but then Dixon will have tire temperature.
Something may be wrong with Alexander Rossi as Graham Rahal continues his surge forward through the pack. We're on board now with Rossi, the Andretti driver.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a flat tire, a tire going down. So easy here, Townsend. You drop a wheel off on the exit on those curves. You drop a wheel off in that dirt. You hit a rock or something and it cuts the tire. Might have cut through and just slightly punctured the rear tire.
Is it possible that the puncture might have been from the contact
Maybe.
with Sato?
It was very much wheel to wheel.
Yeah.
Unlike the Wickens one, which was more side pod to wheel.
Is it the left rear, though? Because the contact was with Rossi's right side.
Last lap was a 1:49, so it's about 4 or 5 seconds off the pace.
And this is
what the
brutal.
leaders are doing.
Brutal for Rossi because he's not in the window to make the last stop right now.
See Pagano now just back behind, so he's coming in. Kevin?
So the only hope now for Alexander Rossi is going to be a caution. That's the only way, and a decent enough length and caution of a couple 3 laps to be able to get him to go the rest of the way. They're going to take a good look at the tires. They do have their sticker reds, as all the other leaders do right now. So that's going to be the hope, is that they get a caution at some point, preferably really soon, before everyone pits to cycle back to the front.
Looking at steering again. Sort of like Zach Veach, they were looking at the steering knuckles on the right front. The left front has not been replaced.
And this could be day done for Alexander Rossi.
So 2 Andretti cars have now had steering issues up front in the steering rack and steering arm system. So now they're working on it. So pretty interesting. They've got something going on with their setup in the front rack and pinion setup.
What are they saying on the radio, Kev?
Obviously not the tire going down. I think they're looking at the shims over there on the left front.
Well,
so obviously this is going to take some time.
That's definitely not tight because they're tightening it. So it looks like the camber shims, where you put the camber shims in, that was loose because he was ratcheting that over. And to get it tight, so it's like those came loose, Townsend.
You could see Rossi's steering wheel going down pit lane was slightly askew, like we talked about with Veach earlier. So appears to be some sort of systematic issue.
Here's Scott Dixon, been running position 3 for a long time, and just slowly, very carefully, strategically worked his way up into that top 3.
And he's pushing mileage. I don't think Hunter Ray came in. I think Hunter Ray stayed on track.
He did, and so too did Newgarden.
Scott Dixon was pushing harder than I've ever seen him on that in lap, doing everything in his power to make up the gap.
And when you've been going 180, close to 190, the 60-mile-an-hour pit lane speed limit feels like you're crawling. Kev?
Scott Dixon coming in. Now keep in mind also the advantage of going the extra lap. I know, for example, Ryan Hunter-Reay is about to come in. They're talking a shorter fuel. This was a shorter fill for Dixon too, so let's see if that gets him any time on track back out.
Leaving on sticker reds, got to have a good clean out lap. He'll sweep out here, get out to the braking point, turn in. Nice exit there, so we're going to see if Hunter-Reay can go another lap, but he hasn't been able to do it yet. Newgarden has done a masterful job at just pacing the front of the field.
We pick up the number 1, Verizon Chevy, and Ryan Hunter-Reay's lost a little bit of ground to Joseph over the last 5 or so laps.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan's tires are fried at this point. Look at the marble buildup too, offline in the kink. Remember, by shortening or lengthening this stint, that means that you just need to take that little bit less fuel on the final stop, and that could be a real big advantage in addition to just the clean air, Paul, of staying out a lap longer.
Yeah, absolutely. These two guys have really been the class of the field in terms of fuel mileage so far this race. Dixon went a lap further than everybody, but it didn't translate into, here they come.
So they both come in, and Scott Dixon, I can tell you, is about to go through the carousel. So let's wait for it, let's watch, and let's see how close this will be between Joseph Newgarden, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and Scott Dixon on this final stop of the race.
So Ryan Hunter-Reay does have the clear in with Marco's box empty. Does have to go around Charlie Kibble's team, you're going to see here in a moment. 15 gallons of fuel instead of the full 18.5 is all they need for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Still sticker reds for the last stint, Marty.
Pit stops and out laps that could decide the race here at Road America. Joseph Newgarden wanted no changes to that car. The sticker alternate tires for him. And again, that short fill, so critical. His lead over the 28 was 1.8 seconds when they came to pit road. We'll see where he cycles out with the 28 of Ryan Hunter-Reay. And also Scott Dixon, who's coming on those fresher tires.
Here he comes. He's going to get Hunter-Reay by turn 5. Hot tires, reds, pushing hard. He's got to close the gap here in turn 2 to get a run down to turn 5. Will he get him, Townsend?
I don't know if he'll be close enough, but it's going to be close. Hunter-Reay has to get to turn 5 first. It looks like he will. Hunter-Reay and Dixon both on push to pass.
Look at this, the run downhill to turn 5. Scott Dixon agonizingly isn't close enough to Captain America to make a move just yet.
Dixon will draw closer in these next couple of corners, but the challenge is there's really nowhere to make a move until they get to Canada Corner. By that point, Newgarden and Hunter-Reay will be fully up to temperature.
A little bit loose, Hunter-Reay through the kink. Dixon draws close. Right here, he's closed up on the tail. If he can stay close here in the carousel, he might have a run to Canada Corner using push to pass. Look at
Hunter-Reay, a little wide, man. That thing is dancing, that DHL car.
He's there. He's close enough to get a draft.
Yeah, but Hunter-Reay's on the button with Dixon, and Hunter-Reay has 60 seconds more of push to pass. He was so efficient throughout the race, and it's paying off now.
Down to Canada Corner. Does Scott Dixon feel he has a chance?
I think he might on the front straight, Paul.
Might have another opportunity, but you've really got to be complete.
Oh, not there.
Yeah, you've got loose on entry, washed out.
Dixon knew he had to do everything he could to stay close and hit that bump in the braking zone for the last corner, and now the gap has opened up to about a second. Meanwhile, Newgarden's loving this.
And Newgarden's got almost a full minute, full 60 seconds more of push to pass than the third place Scott Dixon. I want to go back to IndyCar Live, and I said to you, mate, right at the beginning, hey, does this have a similar feel to Barber Motorsports Park, where Joseph got the pole and went on to the win in dominating fashion? And you said absolutely.
I don't know what it is. Kind of bizarre, the slump that Newgarden went through at Indy and Texas and Detroit, and all of a sudden it's as if that never happened. I mean, this is just such a dominant performance. And Paul, your pick for the race was Rossi, and he's shown, you know, quite a bit of speed and a lot of aggression, but unfortunately had the issue.
Yeah, I mean, the issue, very odd. Had the camber shim block come loose. As we saw, he had to come to the pit lane and fix that, but he was definitely racing, definitely driving the way he has all season long, bumping and shoving and pushing and grinding. So a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact with some guys, but that coming in and fixing that camber shim really cost him.
So first it was Wickens, this was Sato. Same corner, very similar incidents. Race control said no worries, just good hard racing. And then the mechanical issue, as Paul detailed, is what put paid to Alexander Rossi's chances today. And Rossi is well down the order now in 16th place.
Yeah, he's going to have to pit again because he pitted so far out of sequence. He's probably going to have to do another stop as well, which is going to hurt him even more.
Look at this. Pagano on Ed Jones. Jones giving the squeeze there, trying to keep the door tight. Pagano kicking it open, saying, I'm coming through.
And this is under review. And you just heard from Dario Franchitti saying about Ed Jones, we're trying to keep Pagano behind us, which isn't an easy task. Pagano's got his sights set on Spencer Pigot, trying to steal that 7th position away over these closing 2 laps. Hey guys, you surprised to see it stay green, go green the whole race?
Well, not really. We've had it before. You know, we had a full green race at Sonoma to end the season. We've seen it in Mid-Ohio in the past. But I guess I'm a little surprised that at the start of the race, you know, there wasn't maybe one situation that would have led to yellow. Certainly with those 2 Rossi incidents, that could have been close. But, you know, this is a big, fast racetrack. These guys have been aggressive. I love the fact that this new car doesn't have bodywork, little pieces of aerodynamics flying everywhere that forces a debris yellow.
The last full green race at this racetrack was in 2000, I've been told by our stat man over here. You know who won that race?
I have a feeling.
I won. And I won it from last place. I had an ignition failure at the start, went all the way to the back and came all the way through and won the race with no yellows.
To
to add to your 1993 victory as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, you really didn't cause many yellows in your career, Paul.
It is very clear-cut up front, isn't it? What a day. What a day for the one team from Team Penske and Joseph Newgarden. I like the way that he hasn't changed what he's been saying the last few races despite the setbacks. We've just got to regroup. We've got to get going. We know we've got the speed. We know we're a great team.
And I think Joseph Newgarden understood the significance here of pole position. And remember, he had pole at Texas, which gave him such a great pit stall position at the front of the line, the end of pit lane, nobody in front of him as we get the white flag. And so for Newgarden, that lap that he put in qualifying, Paul, was superior. I mean, he's such a tough-as-nails guy, was so bold with his move in the last corner to secure pole.
He's been so dominant all weekend, right from the green flag dropping in the first practice. But, man, you got to be impressed with Scott Dixon. He has put in a drive today that is what you would call a championship drive, where you don't have the best car, you had a bit of a bad run in qualifying, and to bring your way through to the podium, as we look at him here going into turn 5 for the last time, this is what it takes. He knows exactly what it takes to win championships. He did this at the Indy Grand Prix all the way from the back, but this is an important day, I think, for Dixon for points.
Well, Joseph Newgarden gets to join proud Penske drivers, Will Power, Paul Tracy, Emerson Fittipaldi, Danny Sullivan, to have won at Road America for the captain. And that, even though drivers say, yeah, I don't look at records, etc., they do. And it means a lot, because when they do get a time to reflect, they're the kind of things that resonate the most. He won in Phoenix, and he won in Alabama at Barber Motorsports Park. And speaking of Barber Motorsports Park, that was the site of Joseph Newgarden's first IndyCar career win. This is going to be number 10. How about that? He's racked them up in very quick succession, but this track is a special place, and this drive was extra special. Joseph Newgarden wins the Cola Grand Prix to get back in this championship chase.
An impressive day for Joseph Newgarden and this entire Team Penske organization. Dominant fashion, leading all but 2 laps. He winds up in victory lane at Road America. What a day. We started the weekend talking about how special this place is. He told me it was top 2 on his list of places he wanted to come to break a slump. You're a winner at Road America. How bad did you want this one, Joseph?
Really bad. I mean, I wanted to win here since last year. You know, I felt like we had a car to win, and it just didn't happen. But this car has been a rocket all weekend. It was not easy. I mean, Ryan was very quick, and I knew Dixon was right behind him, so we were working for it the entire race. But these guys were the best. I mean, they gave me incredible pit stops. I think we nailed the strategy. Tim was coaching me through the whole thing, so I kind of knew what I had to do, but it was a lot of work. I'm honest with you. Ryan was really pushing me, so you know, just hats off to the whole Team Penske team. I wish we could have the other guys up here with us, but, you know, it's good to get a win. It doesn't matter which car it is. As long as we get one, it's good for Team Penske.
You told me we've had the speed. We haven't had the race execution. Can you imagine a more well-executed race for you or the team than this?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty flawless. It was difficult. I mean, I was really struggling at the beginning to, you know, do what I needed to do and then gap Ryan correctly, but I'll tell you what, Team Chevy did a great job this weekend. They gave me the horsepower I needed, had great fuel economy, so really proud of those guys. Good reliability, everything you expect from a Team Chevy engine, so I think that made the difference at the end of the day.
How much of your day was spent looking in the rearview mirror at that 28 car, trying to keep that gap exactly where it needed to be? Because you're right, Tim was on you a few times. You got to do a better job on fuel.
I know, I was working my butt off, believe me. I was looking at him every lap, and then I started thinking, I'm looking at him too much. Then I started looking forward. I knew if he was getting too close, they'd let me know, so once I focused forward, it was a lot better towards the end.
Cindric said on the radio, we're back on track. Do you feel like this team is back in the championship hunt now, only 50 points out of the lead?
Yeah, we're far, you know, it's far till we get to the end of the season. So for me, I'm not too worried about it. I think we need to focus on this one weekend at a time. That's what Roger told me. He said, look, take it one race at a time. We got a long way to go. I think we're going to be just fine. We focus on being fast and executing our race day. We'll be there at the end. Joseph
Newgarden will always win. Remember, career win number 10, because it comes, Robin, at a very special place.
Watch the Iowa Corn 300, Sunday, July 8th at 2 p.m. on NBCSN.